Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about organelles, the different organelles in the cell, and their role in the cell. And so as a recap, organelles basically help in cell specialization. They allow cells to have certain roles in the organism as a whole. So we're going to start at the center of the cell, and the first organelle we're going to be covering is the nucleus. So the nucleus is where we store our DNA, which is the genetic material that codes for basically all the proteins and all the characteristics of an organism. Additionally, DNA is stored as chromatin, which is a loosely structured form of DNA, whereas we're used to seeing it as chromosomes, which is a tightly condensed form of DNA. Inside the nucleus, we also have the nucleolus, which makes rRNA that's used in ribosomes, but we'll get back to that in another video, probably when we're talking about translation and transcription. But just remember that they produce a certain type of RNA called rRNA and its specialization of the nucleus. The second so-called organelle that's important is the cytoplasm. It's considered the biggest organelle because it encompasses all the space surrounding the other major organelles. It's considered a non-organelle cell space, and it has a pH that's basic, so it allows for most cellular reactions to occur. Then we have our centrioles. They help during cellular division by providing a means of expansion. So basically they have fibers that expand from each of the centrioles during cell replication. And that basically helps the cell maintain shape and structure during replication. Another important organelle is the vacuole. The vacuole is mainly found in plant cells, but for the purpose of an animal cell, it just stores nutrients. Then we have the ribosome. The ribosome we'll get back to later. We'll also get back to the mitochondria, plasma membrane, Golgi apparatus later, because they're actually part of an intricate system called the endomembrane system, which I'm going to discuss in more detail. Another minor, you could call it, organelle is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It basically just decomposes toxins by removing OH groups. And the final so-called minor important organelle is the lysosome. The lysosome decomposes most cellular waste. In helper T cells, it destroys bacteria and foreign agents, and it also works in apoptosis, or controlled cell death. When the cell reaches a certain age, it must die, just like humans must die when they reach a certain age. Same is true for the cell, and lysosomes basically have a very acidic undertone inside of the organelle, which when the lysosomes lyse, that acidity interacts with other organelles and starts to decompose the cell as a whole. So now we're going to talk about the endomembrane system. So the endomembrane system I have drawn in black. So it basically starts in the nucleus, works our way to the endoplasmic reticulum, moves to the Golgi apparatus, and out through the plasma membrane. So the first part of this system involves the transcription of DNA into mRNA, which is then sent to a ribosome. And a ribosome is basically a structure that turns mRNA into a polypeptide or a protein. These proteins are then modified through the endoplasmic reticulum, and it acts as an express messenger, sending it around the nucleus. Then it leaves the endoplasmic reticulum and goes to the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is the packaging center of the cell. It adds lipids and carbohydrates to the protein that are going to be useful when the protein leaves the cell. Finally, an encasing shell of cytoplasm forms around the protein, and this is known as a vesicle. The vesicle fuses with the plasma membrane after flowing through the cytoplasmic space right here. And once it fuses out, it leaves the cell and performs its function in the organism. Some important lysing and release of vesicles are called exocytosis and endocytosis. Exocytosis is when a particle leaves the inside of the cell to the outside, and endocytosis is when a particle comes from the outside and moves to the inside. Another important organelle is the mitochondria, We'll get into more detail about the mitochondria when we're talking about cellular respiration. But as a general overview, it produces ATP through the glycolysis of glucose, and it produces a lot of energy that the cell can use. That's about it. Oh yeah, we also have microvilli, and those are just protein filaments that are on the outside of the cell, which allow for cellular movement. So some organs / areas of an organism that are primarily have microvilli are the lungs and the heart, because the lungs need a lot of oxygen. We need cells that can move fast and transfer this important biological molecule, and the heart, in which large amount of blood needs to be moved around. So that's it. That's about it for the organelles as a whole. As we make more videos, we're going to go into detail about each organelle primarily. Like, for example, we'll go into detail about chloroplasts and mitochondria in photosynthesis. Cellular respiration, we'll go into the nucleus, the ribosomes when we talk about transcription translation, and we'll go into more detail about the centrioles and the microvilli when we're talking about cellular movement and cellular division. So thank you for watching.